Africa's regional blocs have spent decades struggling to agree on the basics. Common currencies stall. Free movement of people remains incomplete. Even trade protocols signed with real fanfare take years to actually operate as intended. So here's what should genuinely surprise you. 3 separate regional blocs, independently, are converging on the exact same regulatory position on satellite internet at the exact same time. Here is the operational reality facing anyone trying to deploy satellite internet across this continent right now. A single company might need separate regulatory approval, separate technical standards, and a separate legal entity in every country it wants to serve, even when those countries sit right next to each other and share the same regional economic community. That's not a hypothetical inefficiency. It's the actual cost structure that decides how fast and how affordably satellite connectivity reaches the people who need it most. So why is this specific issue different from everything else regional blocs usually struggle with? Key point 1. East Africa's push. In October 2025, delegates from 9 countries met in Kigali for a joint spectrum management and knowledge exchange workshop, organized under the Eastern Africa Regional Digital Integration Project, a World Bank-backed initiative led by the East African Community and the Intergovernmental Authority on Development alongside Smart Africa, GSMA and the ITU. The goal was explicit: align frequency allocations, licensing procedures and technical standards across the region, turning fragmented national markets into a single regional digital economy. Key point 2. West Africa's parallel push. Independently, ECOWAS convened technical experts in Freetown, Sierra Leone in March 2026, developing telecom harmonization recommendations submitted to ministers for adoption days later, as part of a broader regional digital single market initiative aimed at aligning national regulations and reducing barriers to cross-border digital services. Key point 3. Southern Africa's satellite-specific push. And in Southern Africa, a report published in November 2025 went further still, calling explicitly for harmonized satellite licensing across SADC member states, streamlined approval processes, and modernized technical standards tied directly to engagement with the ITU's own working group on satellite spectrum rules. A satellite operator wants to serve 3 neighboring countries in the same regional bloc. Under the current system, that means 3 separate license applications, 3 separate technical reviews, and 3 separate sets of compliance requirements for a service that, from space, doesn't recognize the border at all. Regional harmonization is the only thing that makes this operationally sane. Key point 4. The continental layer, tying these together. None of these 3 regional efforts happened in coordination with each other, and yet they're converging on the same conclusion. The Smart Africa have been pushing for the regulatory harmonization of non-geostationary satellites, particularly low Earth orbit satellite, at the regional economic community level. The GSMA published a satellite playbook this July, offering regulators a shared blueprint built on 5 core principles and 8 practical regulatory pillars. And it's already being referenced by national regulators adapting their own licensing rules. The real test of whether this convergence becomes continental unity rather than 3 separate regional wins comes in September 2026 at the 3rd African Preparatory E-negotiating position, heading into the Global World Radio Communication Conference in Shanghai in 2027, where outdated interference rules, written decades before modern satellite constellations existed, are up for genuine reconsideration. So why is this specific issue converging when so much else doesn't? And what does that tell us? The strategic insight. Here is the reframe I want every regulator and policymaker watching this to sit with. Currency union and free movement of people are hard precisely because they touch national sovereignty and domestic political sensitivities directly. Who controls monetary policy? Who gets to cross whose border? Satellite spectrum harmonization doesn't carry that same political weight. Every country loses from fragmentation in higher costs and slower rollout, and no country has an obvious domestic political reason to resist alignment. That's a rare, genuinely positive sum policy space. The open question isn't whether individual regions can agree internally. 3 of them clearly can. It's whether EAC, ECOWAS and SADC, separate positions, actually consolidate into one coherent African voice before Tunisia, or arrive fragmented anyway, just at a regional rather than national level. So here is what to actually watch for between now and that meeting. The practical takeaways. 1. Watch whether the African Union and the African Union Space Agency actively consolidate EAC's, ECOWAS and SADC's separate positions into a single negotiating stance before the September Tunisia meeting. That consolidation step is the one nobody's tracking closely enough. 2. Regulators in regional blocs without an active harmonization push should study EAC's EARDIP model directly. It's the most detailed multi-partner framework currently running. 3. Track the adoption of the Smart Africa regulatory harmonization for LEOs at the regional economic community level and the GSMA satellite playbook's 8 regulatory pillars across individual national shelf. 4. Satellite operators and investors should treat regional harmonization progress as a genuine market entry indicator. A region that has aligned its licensing framework is a materially faster, cheaper place to launch service than one that hasn't. Conclusion. Africa's regional blocs rarely agree quickly on anything that touches sovereignty directly. Satellite spectrum doesn't touch sovereignty the same way, and 3 separate regions are proving that convergence is genuinely possible here. Whether that becomes one African voice at Tunisia, or 3 good regional efforts that never quite connect, is the real story to watch over the next year. This connects directly to our episodes on Starlink regulation, LEO versus fiber versus 5G, and AFCFTA digital trade. The same underlying question about what makes continental coordination actually work. This time with a genuinely more hopeful answer. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification. I will see you in the next video, which is showing on your screen now.